Welcome to Monday's mini pocket painting, and we're going to do an autumn wreath. It's really a simple wreath, not much to it. You just find something to make yourself a circle, and then you can start drawing in pumpkins and berries and leaves, whatever you want on your wreath. Now I have gotten a pumpkin, and I'm just taking some oranges and some yellows, and I'm going and filling in every other section of the pumpkin. You don't want to do the sections that are right next to each other because they'll bleed into each other. Leaving a little bit of the white paper shining through for a highlight. Not too difficult. Come back. I've added some cadmium yellow just to brighten it up. And I'm going to do these little back sections with a little darker orange. And I'm making it a little bit darker at the bottom so that it looks like there's a shadow at the bottom. I'm going to work on that next pumpkin, same idea, every other section, leaving a little white highlight, leaving the white paper shining through for the highlight is what I mean. And that's pretty good. Now let's move on to the third pumpkin, same exact thing. Doing every other section, just adding some orange, a little yellow, making it darker where there would be a shadow, and leaving some of that white paper to shine through. Now I've got a nice brown mixture, and I am going to do some vines and some stems for some leaves right around that little circle we got going on. And now I'm just going to take some yellow green and paint in some leaves, and then a little bit of blue green to paint in the other side of the leaves. I'm leaving a little white strip down the middle of dry paper to leave sort of like a highlight, just to give it some interest. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. You can make your leaves solid. It's your leaves. You do it how you want to do it. And I'm just using a combination of yellow, green, and a little blue green. And you can mix up whatever greens that you like for fall. These are just the ones that I'm using. And I'm going to come back. This is dried enough that I can go ahead and fill in the sections of the pumpkin. Same way we did the other two. So nothing, no new information on this part. You just keep on painting. You got this. It's a simple pumpkin. No tricks or anything. I'm going to get a little bit closer so you can see it better maybe. And then I'm going to work on these other pumpkins. I'm just adding a little darker orange at that bottom. And a little bit of yellow with it too, making sure I try to preserve those highlights. Once we get those going, we are going to go ahead and add some orange berries and leaving a little circle of the white paper for the highlight. And we are just going to keep working up. Just working on some more berries, and I'm just adding a little bit of red, a little bit of orange, a little bit of yellow, leaving a white highlight. Again, you're just basically painting a circle with a white dot in it. I'm going to come back in and add the stem to this pumpkin. It should be dry enough that the color doesn't run into it. I'm going to darken up one half of this leaf, this one too, with this a little bit darker blue-green color. And we'll finish off these little pumpkins right here. Now this little motif or this little painting, you can use it as a place card for your Thanksgiving table. You can write the person's name right underneath the bow. You know, there's a good space to write the person's name and put it on their place holder. If you have a dinner party, and sometimes dinner parties you give gifts, sort of like parting gifts, you can use this as a tag for that, for their parting gift from your Thanksgiving gala, dinner, whatever you throw. Unless you're like me and you just sit at the counter with some paper plates and be done with it. But hey, get as fancy as you want. I'm just saying this could be a good tag for something like that. It could be a good place setting. You can just write a name on it. You can even make it into an invitation if you want to invite someone. You can use this little design for an invitation to invite somebody to Thanksgiving dinner. So now I'm just drawing some little leaf shapes right behind the pumpkins, and I'm just using a darker red and a bright yellow and trying to do like an oak leaf shape. Doesn't have to be exact. It's gonna come out pretty. Just as long as you don't let the colors run together too much, it will come out really pretty. And just using some more of that yellow green and making another little oak leaf shape, sort of. I'm not being too particular with it, since this is just a small little quick design to start getting your creative juices going. But again, you can still use this as a nice little invitation, place card setting, gift tag for, you know, if you have going away gift bags for your guests. Some people still do that, I don't know. And I'm just making some more leaf shapes going up the other side, darkening them in on one side with that blue-green, and we're going to go back up the other side. As you see, I have drawn out some more oak leaves and some acorns, just using that yellow-green. For the little acorn caps, I'm just using a dark brown. I'm leaving a little highlight on the caps too, just like I did on the berries. And my hand keeps getting in front of the camera and it's focusing on my hand and not the painting. I apologize. And I'm just darkening up some of the stems. I'm going to go back to that sort of yellow-green and put the acorn body in underneath the little cap, leaving a little bit of lighter toward the center for a highlight. Those look pretty good. I'm just going to add some veins into the leaves with a little darker green. And just add a little darker right in between the sections, sort of a shadow with a dark sort of orange. And I'm just going to add some more little smaller berries here with the orange. And the beauty of this is you can put berries in it where you want. You can put whatever leaf shapes you want. As long as you're just following the circle, it's going to be fine. You can overlap them. Now I'm making some of the larger berries like we have on the other side. And just blending that out a little bit. It's not exactly a circle, but it'll be okay when it dries. And another berry right beside of that, leaving a little highlight. And doing some more of the vein work in the leaves. I'm going to add some leaves with some of this sort of reddish maroon color. I don't even know what color I picked up off my palette, but it's sort of a red. Maybe you could use alizarin crimson, would be a good color. This looks like some sort of bright rose that I've picked up. And just add a little bit more in there, a few more leaf shapes. And I'm just going to darken up the shadows on the acorn just to make it look a little bit more 3D. And a little bit darker. They were getting lost with the leaves there for a second. Now I'm just going to draw some more little oak leaves on this side. And you see they don't have to be fancy. They're just oak leaf shapes. Nothing. Anybody could draw them. Just a bunch of little lumps all clumped together. Now I'm going to paint those in. I'm still using some yellow greens. Putting a little dark green at the bottom there. And just painting those little leaf shapes out. And just adding a little bit darker color into the other leaf shapes across from it. Some little lines into my reddish purple leaves down there, just to do some detail work. Also, I painted in the stems to the pumpkins. I'm darkening up these little berries with a little more reddish orange. I'm just going to put in some more stems. I'm going to work on this acorn. With that dark brown, we're going to put the cap in, and then with the green, we're going to do the little acorn body just like we did on the opposite side. I'm just going to add some dark blue-green leaves. I'm not even sure what mixture I've got on my palette. It's just blues and some greens on there. It's probably indigo and sap green. But you can mix up whatever dark blue-green you want. And then I'm just sort of filling in some areas. That gives it a little bit of contrast to all that orange and red, that blue-green. And then I'm going to come up here with a sort of a yellow and green oak leaf. I'm dropping in yellow and then putting in a little green. Then going in with the green bodies for my acorns, again, just like I did on the ones across from them. There we go. And then I'm just going to go into my blue-green. I'm going to add some more leaves that are a little more blue and a little less yellow. And just sprinkle those in different spots. Just fill in some spots with those little leaf shapes of that dark blue. Well, it's a dark blue-green. Once you get this done, you should be ready to paint your big, serious paintings. You've gotten it out of your system. You've gotten the right side of your brain activated, and you should be ready to go after this. And just draw in some veins into those oak leaves. And a few more veins. And just darken that up so that I can separate that oak leaf from the one on top of it. Add a few more leaves, blue-green leaves. Just filling in some areas. And a few more here. And maybe a few more berries, maybe, I think. We can put in some more leaves, and then I think we're going to add some more berries up at the top, just to keep that orange flowing through the composition. I'm going to put the top part of the wreath in, the little stem part where the stems are all twisted together. And I'm just going to take that reddish purple color and just paint in some little dots here and there, just to carry that red color throughout the wreath, that red from the leaves at the bottom by the pumpkin. So just use that same little red and just do sort of circles and leave little white dots so it looks like little tiny berries. And just distribute them sort of evenly around. And I think we're still going to need a little something here. Let's put a bow at the top. So I'm just going to draw in a little bow. Nothing fancy. There we go. And I'm just going to take that same blue-green that I used for the leaves and paint in the bow. And we're leaving some white areas. We're going to come back and paint those in with some darker, a little bit of a darker blue, just to give it some dimension, but we're going to let that part dry first. And you see I didn't get it, but I added a few more of the orange berries right at the top. Now I'm just taking that dark blue mixture and filling in so it looks sort of like shadows and gives that bow some dimension. And around the little center part of the bow and down where one of the things is overlapping the other. One of the ribbons is overlapping the other one. And some more little dark areas for shadows. Pull it down. There we go. And you have a cute little fall wreath you can use for a tag, a place setting, or even put it on an invitation. All right. Love art. Like and follow me for more tips and tutorials. See you next week.